I am pretty positive that everybody in church today realizes that this is a fallen world. Thank you, Adam and Eve, okay? Brought sin into the world. And because it's broken, we live all the time in the juxtaposition of light and darkness, sin and holiness. They're always right next to each other, even in our own lives. So, but yet, at the same time, even when that darkness and when that sin is there, sometimes it can also spur us on to some great steps forward in our spiritual life of holiness and goodness. So we have to always kind of look at that. Why in this fallen world is there such good? There's a lot of good in a fallen world. And anybody that lives in this world knows that there is really good things. Peter, James, and John got to see that no one had ever seen in the whole history of creation. This transfiguration comes, the word they use in Greek is metamorphosis. It's a change. It's like a whole turnaround. It's something very, very powerful. And what St. Irenaeus, back in the 2nd century, said, God passed into man so that man could pass over to God. Now, it doesn't mean we become God. That's not it all. But we become like God. We're not just human beings. So sometimes when somebody says to you or to me, Monsignor, we're just merely human beings. When they say something like that to you, your immediate response should be balderdash. That's simply a lie. One of Satan's lies, that we're just human beings. As C.S. Lewis wrote, there are no ordinary people. You have never spoke to a mortal. You know, nations come and go, cities come and go, etc. But it is important that we realize that sometimes those people that we laugh with and have fun with, work with each other, marry, all kinds of things, people that we exploit, all kinds of things. Those when we talk to those people, we have to remember the dullest and most uninteresting person that you talk to may one day be such a creature that if you saw it today, you might want to worship them of the glory that is in them, or perhaps horror and corruption if they go the wrong way. You have never, ever met an ordinary man or woman. It just doesn't happen. That's how God looks at us. It's how he talks with us. We are not mere mortals. That in us is eternity. Every single one of you, every one of you, from now on, you will live in eternity. In heaven or hell, could be either one. But you will live forever. This thing we call death on earth is, it's a body death, but it's not really death. So once we start to grow in our mother's womb, that's for eternity. So always be keeping in mind in that. And so Jesus' transfiguration points to the beautiful reality of what is to come, of what is to be, of what we are meant to be. And it's hard to describe. I mean, his face like the sun, his clothes just whiter than white. A truly beautiful vision. But, sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we, get weighed down by the stuff that comes from us in the world, getting older, getting sick, accidents, all kinds of things like that. And when that happens, what we really need to do and train ourselves to go back to this is to, meditate on the Transfiguration. That's our destiny. Not to grovel before God, but to have a glorious, glorious reception into the kingdom of love. So we have to always kind of say, what is this Transfiguration? Because you're going to go into that. We're going to go into that if we go to heaven. That's when it's going to be glorious. If we end up going to hell, it's going to be awful, corruption. But Jesus is giving us what is our destiny. Pope Paul VI would say, he is the mediator, the bridge between heaven and earth. He is more perfect than anyone else, the Son of Man. And think what I heard in that first reading. Remember, Daniel says, I saw one like a son of man. And in the New Testament, many times Jesus says, the Son of Man, referring to himself. And we say, okay, Son of Man, yeah, we're humans. What the Jews would have heard, that would have been the prophecy of Daniel. That the Mashiach, the Son of Man, will come and free them from the tyranny. So they heard it on a little bit different level. Keep this in mind at all times. This vision must always keep before us. So when those bad things happen, think about the Transfiguration. And the things that are going wrong with us, or the things that happen to us, are nowhere near what our destiny is. God doesn't pick on us. We should never say, well, just God made me do this. No. God doesn't make us do things. God invites us to pay attention to our destiny. We shouldn't be blaming God for anything. Oh, I'm mad at God. When people tell me that in the confession, I say, well, what did he do to you? And every one of them for 50 years say, well, no, he didn't, but others did. So why are you mad at God? He didn't do anything to you. Except give us the privilege of seeing what is in store for us. We have to choose to live that. And every time we do that, we become Christianized. We can't just say I'm a Christian because I go to church. It's more than that. Well, I have good morals. It's more than that. There's something deeply, deeply powerful when we have that personal relationship with Jesus. So, Moses and Elijah, they didn't have this vision. They'd never seen what was in store for them. God, in his wisdom, of course, brought them into heaven. But we have more than Moses and Elijah. We have the fulfillment of the prophecy. We have the fulfillment of the law. So they're coming down the hill. Think about that. Here they had this beautiful thing. Now they got to go back into the world, back into the mess of humanity. So we have to do that. We have to go back spiritually to the top of the mountain. Say, wait a minute, I'm not going to let the world conquer me. I'm not going to let that happen. Because we have a greater destiny than the world. Think about it like communion. Every day when you come to communion and you come up the aisle, it's like going up the mountain spiritually, going up to the altar, up to the presence of God. And we receive that transfigured Jesus, that transubstantiated bread and wine. And then we go back. We go back down the mountain, back into the world, back to the streets, back to our homes, back to our jobs, back to our schools. What we have to take with us is that vision of the destiny. That's going to do something with our lives. And so remember your destiny and live for that destiny. Live for that destiny in every situation, in every conflict, in every conversation, in every conviction, in every complication, in every comfort, in every sickness. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Remember why you are here. Never forget that. Remember why you are here. And whenever you think about where am I going, remember you're called to go to the mountain. And once you see the destiny, to bring it back into the valleys and know that Jesus will be there.